Is it selfish to travel with your kids, or is this the best gift you could give them?
No worries, no stress, just good vibes. No worries, no stress, just good vibes. No worries, no stress, just good vibes. Around the world, we're gonna travel today. Just me and my family.
Welcome back to our Offbeat Life. If you caught our episode a few weeks ago with Addie, you're really going to be in for a treat today. We talked about mental resilience and mind work last time, the mind work that is needed to move abroad and make those mental shifts. Well, today we're zooming in on one of the biggest concerns that we hear from parents: how to raise kids with mental wellness at the forefront while traveling full time. And Addie is not only a licensed therapist, but also a full-time traveling mom, which makes her uniquely qualified to speak on this. So, without further ado, hello, Addie.
Hello.
So, I want to start things really quick. Is it selfish to travel with your kids, or is this the best gift you could give them?
I would say it's the best gift that you can give them. Obviously, I'm a little biased because I do it, right? But obviously, we hear a lot like it's selfish to do X, Y, and Z with your kids, traveling with them being one big part of it. I would say with a caveat, right? If your kids are completely miserable, and you can maybe get into this a little bit, and really struggling with it, they're going to struggle sometimes. And even in the beginning, they may not want to, especially if they're older. But I would say if you're noticing that their mental health, mental wellness is really shifting downward, then yeah, maybe it's a little selfish to continue, right? I think it's like you as a parent know your kid and know, is this just them being a little bit annoyed or being scared of like the unknown, or is this really not working out for them, right? And I think a perfect example of that is a couple of them, but one of them that's sticking out in my mind right now is my sister. So she is a little bit younger than me. She has a husband, and at the time she had one son who was like 3 or 4, I believe. So they started traveling with us in the RV, going around moving. But honestly, what they noticed kind of really quickly was it just wasn't the best fit for him. Like he really struggled, the constant moving, like they're stressed, like they just kind of noticed. They didn't make the decision rash, the first trip or whatever. I think they traveled for maybe about 6 months or something, but they just kind of noticed that his behavior was worse. It just wasn't a good fit for him. He's a very hyperactive boy, and even though you're out a lot in the RV, you are in a small space for a lot of the time too, right? Because it's an RV. So he just needed room to kind of run around. So they made the decision to just do short little trips here and there, but get a house, get some land. Like that was maybe a better fit for him. So everyone's story is different, and you know your kids best. And if it's really not working for them and you've given it some time, then maybe, yes, it's a little bit selfish. But overall, I don't believe that it's selfish. I think that there's a lot of awesome benefits that can come with it.
Yeah, life in an RV isn't always picture perfect. I mean, it's not all sunsets and s'mores.
No, that's for sure.
But I mean, it really can be beneficial for adults and kids.
Yes.
We've done a little bit of RV and travel life as well. I know you've spent a lot of time doing it. We talked about that last year on the second season of the podcast.
Yes.
So I definitely encourage people to go check out that episode because we were all about burnout. And I mean, when you're traveling in the RV, you can get burnt out. So
for sure. Yes.
All right. Well, so that was an example there of something that didn't work out. They were able to move on and do something different with your sister and her son.
Mm-hmm.
But what's one recent parenting win while traveling that you're proud of?
Oh, that's such a good question. I don't know if it's like a big one, but like recently we did like a day trip to Granada. We're currently in Estepona, Spain. So we did a day trip to Granada. We've heard it's a beautiful, wonderful city. We've been doing a little bit of day trips. So this is just this past weekend. So I try to plan out, a fairly good itinerary. I have 2 young kids, 4 and 7. So try not to pack it crazy full, right? Have some downtime, definitely some ice cream in there to like help encourage them. So yeah, we just had a really great day. Adventure days are what we call them, don't come with out its challenges because obviously there's a lot of walking, it can be hot, all of that stuff. So it's a lot of us staying calm, right? Like working through that, knowing that even if we're back home, we'd probably still be dealing with all of this, right? So we're going throughout of our day, having fun, also some meltdowns because they're 4 and 7. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think they're eating, we got them yogurt, frozen yogurt or something like that. And my daughter's like, this was just like the best day ever. My son's like, this is the best day ever. And it's just like, you wouldn't think, to see kind of the different challenges that we had during the day. But I mean, they loved it. They had so much fun. We took them to the science park, which, I think the other thing sometimes with traveling and kids, it's like that we've are trying to lean in and appreciate is sometimes you might not get to do all of the things that you really want to do, right? Like the Alhambra is a really big, popular thing in Granada, this huge castle. One, tickets were sold out, but two, it's like 3-4 hour long tours. They would have not done well with that, right? So, and obviously it depends on how old your kids are. And we still do things that we want to do, but we do try to balance it with all those things that they want to do. So, would the science park be high on my list? Maybe not necessarily, although we had actually a really great time. It was really fun. So when they say this is the best day ever, which, they do kind of say that kind of so often, but it's always just warms your heart. Like, how cool that we get to just take a day trip to Granada, Spain and show them all these fun things.
Yeah. I enjoy going to the science museums all around the world too. It's kind of one of our rituals. Every time we are in a city that has one,
I love it.
our son loves that. Yeah,
Yeah.
he loves it too. It's just amazing.
Yeah. This one actually
And
was really
so,
cool.
well, that's awesome. I'll have to check it out when I get down that way.
Yeah.
Uh, and what's a chaotic or funny parenting moment that still makes you laugh?
Oh gosh. I mean, probably not like in the moment laugh, right? But just afterwards, maybe a little bit. We definitely had a chaotic travel day when we left Syros, Greece, and came to Estepona, Spain. Just a lot of, we found out we booked our accommodations for the wrong time, just a lot of things. And that's you have to take a ferry, you have to spend the night, then you like fly out the next day, right? So the next day, we thought we had timed things right. We didn't. Of course, we were like running late. We had to like run to our gate. We finally get there. It was just a series of unfortunate events. And then my son, like his ear was bothering him. So, on the flight, all of the things. I mean, pretty much at the end of the day, all we could do was just kind of laugh because it just seemed like a lot of things were going wrong. So I think it's like with traveling too, humor, especially talking about like mindset and mental resiliency and everything. I think humor is a big one. So if you and your partner can laugh together, maybe not in the moment, but maybe afterwards when you're like, gosh, like we got through that day and didn't kill each other or the kids, that's like a win. Yeah, that was one we laughed at afterwards. Just like, how could all of these things just go wrong?
Yeah, if you can laugh, not necessarily in the moment, but as long as you can turn around and laugh at it later,
Yes,
it's a win.
for sure.
It's a learning experience.
Yes, for sure.
All right. So, what mental health needs in children might traveling parents overlook?
Well, yeah, I think it's flexibility with kids and kind of going back to what we talked about in the other episode, keeping some sort of routine, right? When you are moving locations frequently, having those like stressful travel days, like all of that stuff, it can be a lot for kids to have to like pick up and move and do all the things and ride long trains and all of that stuff, right? So I think just struggling with flexibility could be one that parents overlook. One that I honestly didn't really think about until it happened. And I was like, oh shoot, like this is like a big deal, is having to say goodbye a lot to friends they've made. Like I said, we were in Greece for 7 months, so we made some really good friends there. Some friends left like first and then we left later, but that first goodbye was about like 4 months in, I guess. My daughter's older, so she's 7. My son, doesn't really care at this point, but I'm sure that will change as he gets older. But it was a really hard goodbye for my daughter. Like they left, our friends that were really close left on a ferry, so we went to the ferry to say goodbye to them. And I mean, she was full blown, like sobbing, wailing. And I'm trying to like, it's okay to cry, like it's okay to be sad, but I'm also then like, it's okay, like tearing up and crying, so I'm trying to like, and it's okay for parents to cry for sure, but I was trying to like also be a little bit strong in the moment, like a good balance. So I'm like, it's okay as I'm like crying and trying to keep it together too, right? But gosh, that moment was so hard and really, and I don't know if this was, from maybe my own parenting, or I kind of wanted to jump out of it really quickly because it was so uncomfortable. Like her pain of like saying bye to her bestie was just so uncomfortable. So I almost was like, it's okay. Like, let's just go get ice cream. But I didn't want to do that because that's not, I mean, there's no shame in any of it with parenting, right? You do the best that you can. But I think it's like, I just wanted her to know, like, it's okay to feel sad. You feel sad because you really cared about these persons, right? And we don't need to, like, necessarily jump out of that and just kind of numb our pain with ice cream, although that can be nice sometimes too, right? So, yeah, one thing that was a little bit like, ooh, I need to, like, take, and even kind of going back to being selfish, like, I struggled a little bit after that of like, darn, is this really, am I messing her up by having her to say goodbye to all of her friends all the time? Like, is that really impacting her? And I kind of struggled with that a little bit, reached out to some friends, got some support myself for it. But that was one that I just wasn't expecting. I guess maybe because in the RV she was a lot younger, and so it didn't affect her as much, and just recognizing that she is getting older and forming those connections, and that goodbyes are just going to be a little bit harder.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's definitely something that we need to worry about. We need to take into account, and some good coping mechanisms as well, how to deal with it when it happens in the moment.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, for sure.
but how can parents know if the travel lifestyle is working for their children?
Yes. So I think, yeah, just, your kid. So how do they seem, right? Like, how are they acting? Do they seem, for the most part, like excited to try new things, do new things, explore new things, make new friends? Or are you noticing like a big change in behavior, right? Are they isolating more? Do they want to like stay in their room more? Are they on screens more? Are they struggling sleeping? Like, noticing all of those things. Another example that of a one that it wasn't necessarily working was this friend of mine that was also in Greece and had her daughter was a little bit older, I think maybe like a teenager. I can't remember exactly, maybe 12. But just really, really struggled, just really, really struggled. And the mom, who's a friend of mine, just really went back and forth. They were really enjoying themselves and loving and having a great time, but it was really hard to see their daughter day in, day out, like really not like they were at a school at a time, really not like the school, have a hard time making friends, really miss back home. And obviously, this is just me from the outside looking in, and from what I've heard, they really tried to encourage her. Like, they were there for maybe a good 2 months, so they tried, for some time, right? But I think for her, it was just really a change of behavior, like not really wanting to get up in the morning, right? Just kind of dragging the whole time, having a lot of attitude, a lot of irritability. Like, I think really just noticing a big change in behavior. Again, that can be completely normal, maybe in the beginning, right? Or during the different transition times. But I think if it's prolonged for long periods of time and also like consistently, like every day, then I think it's most definitely worth a conversation, especially if they're older. Like, how are you liking it? What's going on? Like, what are some of your struggles? Right? Opening that dialogue is important, just like it would be back home too.
Yeah, and I think that's important to point out is yes, checking in with your kid's emotional state doesn't change just because you're traveling. It's just like you would be doing it before you traveled.
Yeah.
You would be still checking in back then too.
Right. Yeah. And just being like really in tune, I think, to their changes.
So, how can families create emotional stability when constantly changing locations?
Yeah. So I think that goes back to what I know me and you have talked about a lot, like having some good routines, right? I think, again, very quickly in the RV when we first started, because we didn't know what the heck we were doing. We were kind of had this vacation mindset. We were like, go, go, go. eating out a lot. This is even before my son was born, so it's just my daughter. And I feel like we were just all off, like a lot of temperature changes for her. We were just kind of all off. So we were like, okay, we need to come back. We need to reset, and we need to get, again, that mindset shift of this actually isn't a vacation. This is how we live our life. So how are we going to have a good balance, right? So what we decided is like during the week, we are going to try to keep a very similar routine to what we would have like if we were back home or in stationary in the house. So that means limited like eating out during the week, cooking at home, right? Like waking up at a decent time, getting some outside time, like just trying to build a good routine during the week. We would have adventure days on Friday, so it's something to look forward to. Do like something fun on Saturday, but maybe kind of chill or a little bit on Sunday. So maybe not try to pack our weekends super tight too. So again, just trying to have those portable routines, right? If you don't have screens at dinner at home, like, yeah, let's not do screens at dinner when we're traveling, right? Or if you try to moderate screens at home, yeah, maybe try to moderate screens traveling too, right? We kind of have a thing where we do try to moderate them, but on travel days, it's like free for all because travel days are just a little bit crazy. So it's just kind of whatever works for your family. But I definitely think routines, going back to that, if you don't have one, go back to that. I think prepping your kids for what it's going to look like in terms of traveling or the plans, right? So for some kids, they might like a visual plan. So if you can do like a visual, calendar schedule of show them what you're going to do. For others, for our kids, we really just tell them a lot. So do a lot of prepping to tell them. So, hey, we're going to go spend this amount of time, even if it's like they're going to forget. It's okay. We still do. We're going to go spend this amount of time in Greece, blah, blah, blah. Then we're going to do this, right? Then we're going to do this. Then we're going to do this. And if they're older and this is part of your, like, getting their input is always helpful, right? So like, what would you like to do? Would you like to meet up with any of your friends if we can? Getting their input I think is important, but also I think just prepping them. Now I know for like the goodbyes, like definitely doing some prep work for that, right? Like we have so many days left with so-and-so, and then we're going to have to like say goodbye to them, but we're going to try to meet up with them, at a future date. And it's okay to be sad. We can cry. We can tell them we love them and had a great time, validating their feelings, all of that stuff. But I think really trying to prep them too, so they're not just like, what the heck happened to Sally, is also important.
Yeah, my son's grown to understand that he does not like goodbyes, and it's always till next time,
Oh,
or I'll see you online with him.
oh yeah, I love that. Yeah. So yeah, ways that you can continue.
So if he makes a connection with somebody, he always tries to, he says, I need their messenger kid, or I need their Discord, or something, so that he can stay in touch with them if he wants to. So
Yeah.
that's his way.
Yes. I love that. That's great. Yeah.
So let's continue down that path though, because some kids will have emotional outbursts. They need their emotions regulated, and they need to learn those strategies for regulating their emotions. Belly breathing, all that stuff that we still would do back home. So what calming tools or emotional regulation strategies do you use with your kids, or do you recommend to people to use with kids at a variety of ages?
Yeah. So one that I cannot stress enough, which I know is like sometimes parent, not, I'm going to say sometimes parent, my husband, right, rolls his eyes maybe at this, but the best regulating tool that you have in your pocket is to keep yourself regulated, right? So if you are super dysregulated, irritable, stressed out, they call it co-dysregulation, like you're just going to be dysregulated together. Because this could go into way in the science of things, which I'll try not to do, but our bodies very much can mirror each other, right? And can feed off the energy from one another. It's like when you walk into a room and maybe it feels off, or you feel like there's tension in here, right? Like you cut the tension in a knife, like you can feel it. You don't even know anything that's happening. It's the same thing with our kids. So they can also feel that too, right? So the best thing that you can do is, if you know that it's maybe going to be a stressful time, obviously you can't always prepare, But specifically for travel days, it's like try to really focus on regulating yourself. So for me personally, right, it's yeah, just taking those deep breaths. It's thinking it like what helps me sometimes is just planning, even though that sometimes can lead into control, but just kind of like knowing like what the day is going to look like, planning what we're going to do for airport time, like just thinking about that stuff can help me feel a little bit more in control and a little bit more regulated. I think for me and my husband, it's remembering like, hey, we are on the same team, right? We're on the same team. So let's work together. Let's communicate, like lots of patience. Like, let's just remember we're on the same team, which we have to tell ourselves that
We're
frequently.
we're on the same team. We're on the same team. We're on the same team. That's a good mantra. I'm just going to repeat that over and over again.
Yes, yes. So I think
Yes, because
remembering that.
I, I totally agree. And yes, on travel days, it's good center yourself as best you can because yeah, people or kids they pick up on so much. And
Mhm.
that's the nonverbal cues. And even I mean, obviously if it gets to the verbal cue, obviously they pick up on that, but yeah, we want to try to set that example is what I always try to say
For
because
sure.
we're the only example they have, especially as traveling families. The other people in their lives are usually fleeting. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I think definitely do that. I think again, kind of going back to like the prepping time, what we try to do before travel days or, before something stressful is we just try to do like a little huddle of like, okay, we're going to have a good day today, right? We're going to have a smooth, like almost like manifesting sort of, but we're going to have, a smooth travel day. We're all going to be patient and kind with each other. And we're going to put on our listening ears, right? And we usually do like a little prayer before we head out. So we, try our best. Obviously, it doesn't always just go perfectly because of that, but we do just try to connect with each other before we, head out to our travel days. I think if it's like a meltdown or something during the travel days, what I typically like to do is, if I can, obviously it just kind of depends, but is get them like to a quieter space. So, pull them to an aside, like a quieter corner in the airport or something, if that's possible. And just if it's just a tantrum, they need to get their feelings out, just a good mantra for this, and I didn't create this. I think this was one of the followings, but it's like you can always validate the feelings, but hold the boundary, right? So if they're upset because they can't get ice cream or something before the flight, like it's totally fine to be upset. It's okay to cry, maybe in the airport it's not necessarily okay to scream or hit. It's never okay to hit, right? So just let's cry it out for a little bit. I get disappointed too when I don't get the things that I want, right? Do you need a hug? Do you want me to hold you? All of that good stuff. But the boundary still stands, right? That they don't get an ice cream or whatever the boundary is. So I think that's a good one to remember. I think also, like especially with regulating, sometimes with a lot of that anxious stressful energy, like they just need to get that energy out. So if possible, if there's a playground in the airport, those are so awesome, like let them go buck wild on the playground, right? Or even, I mean, I know maybe this is frowned upon, but like letting them run, like, just letting them run if it's a kind of an open space in the airport to get that energy out, I think is really important, because sometimes, yeah, their little bodies have a lot of that and they need to get it out some way. And it's much better there than when you're in the plane and they're freaking out and they're trapped.
Do you have any special strategies or thoughts for parents that have only children, like I do, of course. I find myself being sucked in and I am the play toy, so I'm the one running with him. I'm the one on the playground just so that he can get out there and get started and introduce him to other kids because he can be a little shy. Those types of things.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yes, working on maybe like a little bit more independent play, or I know like sometimes, especially if you don't necessarily want to, you're tired and you don't necessarily want to kind of like move around. It's like, are there fun games that you could play sitting down? So I know like a good one sometimes is like doctor. So just like you're at the doctor's office and they're just like checking you or whatever. Or I'm trying to think of like other like good ones that you can kind of do just, but not having to be like super active, you know? Like I Spy can sometimes always be a good one. Yeah.
That's always a good one. Always. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know if you're wanting to do like less screens. One that my kids have really gotten into, especially my 7-year-old, I can't remember how old your child is, but is like the Yodo where they can listen to audiobooks. So she's really been into that, actually chapter books, which she wasn't before. And so that's kind of like an easy one and can be regulating with like reading, you know, she just puts her headphones on and she can listen to the audiobook kind of by herself and it's not a screen. So it's a little bit better, I feel like. So yeah, I think maybe some strategies like that could be good.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm in for it because I've got a boy who's getting ready to go into the teens soon. So
Yeah.
we're working on all of that as well as trying to be emotionally supportive of him.
Yes.
I mentioned earlier that we do let him have social networks like Discord, regulated of course, and Facebook Messenger.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
for the kids, Messenger kids only.
Yes.
But what do you think? Are there any other social networks or ways that kids can stay grounded and receive peer support as well while traveling?
Yeah, we also have Kids Messenger. So my daughter has really liked that and it's on her iPad. So she's really liked that autonomy of just being able to like call her friends. I mean, obviously with that and with traveling, it's teaching her about time zones, which I think can be another good, like, you know, kind of world schooling lesson, right? Like what time are different people awake and so forth. And so she's still kind of working on that. But and the clock app kind of helps with where we put, you know, where our family lives so she can see what time it is in each location. I know some kids have their own like email that's like regulated, so they can almost like pen pals, you know, but can send emails back and forth and exchange emails if some parents really don't want to do Kids Messenger. Obviously, we also have WhatsApp, of course, we use all the time, and so it's not she doesn't have it on her iPad, but just trying to schedule WhatsApp video calls, right, with some of her friends too is also like, or her family, right, is also really can be helpful and useful with that as well. So those are kind of the ones that we use. Not a whole lot of apps yet since they're a little bit younger still.
Yeah, definitely, since they're younger. Okay. What mental health tools should every nomadic parent have in their toolkits?
Well, so I think, you know, learning how to regulate yourself should be number one. So if you struggle with that, then I think getting some support on that or some reflection on what is it that you feel like you need in order to regulate yourself, right? And maybe like for my husband, that's really kind of like space. So he might say like I need to take a minute, right? And like go for a walk at the airport or something like that. I think for me, it's maybe connection time with friends or something. So I might need like an evening that I just call my girlfriends or something or go out with them or something like that, right? So I think, or, you know, some people really need that exercise time. So it's making sure that they prioritize that and have time for that for themselves or whatever it is. So I think learning how to regulate yourself. And if you don't know how to do that, there's so many tools, helpful things. And it's really kind of just trial and error, just figuring out what you like. Some people like more active things, some people like more gentle things. So just trial and error to figure that out. That's number one. I think number two could be just really trying to, and this is like could be a whole nother topic, but really just trying to know, you know, your child's development and know what they're capable of, you know, at any given time. So kind of an easy one to remember is when they are in the middle of a tantrum or, you know, for older people, maybe being older kids for being like really disrespectful or rude or something, they're probably not accessing the smartest part of their brain, which is like this front brain, their cortex. They're probably in the back part of their brain, their brainstem, which is, you know, the reptilian brain. They're in fight or flight mode, freeze, fawn. This is all the stuff I talk about in therapy. So, and you know, I try to help my husband with this a little bit because sometimes, because this is not stuff we're taught in school. So you really do have to learn and unlearn things, right? Because a lot of times it could be going back to mindset like, oh, they're being disrespectful. How dare they? You know, and it's like, well, they're not, you know, yeah, just trying to kind of like work through that a little bit.
I can relate with your husband on that because recently I had that feeling as well where he's being disrespectful or whatever it was in the moment. But then I was thinking and I was researching and I found out more about that what the activity he was doing, usually playing a video game or something, he's using that reptilian brain. He's drilled in on something and I had to find a way to pull him away from that first gently before because in the moment that brain just they lash out. They're not really thinking about their answers, and you get an apology later. I'm sorry I acted that way because that's not really them. It's just a version of them in that moment.
Yes, correct, right? So, you just don't want to have discussions with them or why they're doing that or anything like that in that moment because it's just not going to be helpful for them. It's definitely not going to be helpful for you. So it's really just about, yeah, seeing if you can redirect them right in that moment or just stay, like if they're throwing a tantrum or something, just stay with them and let, ride out the tantrum until they're calm. And then you kind of have a conversation with them, right, about it. But I think, yeah, just really understanding those kind of states and when, yeah, they're in a state like that, it's they I mean, my belief is no child like chooses actively to misbehave. Like that doesn't feel good to them, right? They're probably doing it for lots of other reasons. It's just trying to figure out what that kind of reason is. Is it that they're not in a higher state, right? Are they hungry? Are they tired? Like, is it about something deeper? Just trying to kind of look past the behavior, which can be really hard. And again, a mindset belief shift and just trying to think about what is really going on here.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Well, for those who haven't heard from you before or listened to the past episodes, how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, so the best way to do that is through my website. So it's just the name of my counseling practice, which is Everyday Bravery Counseling, which is www.everydaybraverycounseling.com. All of the information's on there, so you can definitely check that out if you're looking for more mental health support. If you are just wanting to kind of follow along for our adventures, we do have some socials where we kind of try to document a lot of our adventures. So you can check us out there. We're Wheeling with the Weilands. We can link it below. And then I have some socials for my therapist practice and other things that you can also follow.
Excellent, excellent. And so then as we wrap up, for parents listening who want to start putting all this into practice right away, what is one small, realistic change they can make this week to support their child's mental wellness while traveling?
I would say a small change that you can make would be maybe one to open dialogue, just checking in with them. Like if you haven't in a while, just to say, over dinner or, take them out for ice cream or something, that's always helpful, is just to say, hey, like, how's it been going? What do you like most about traveling? What do you not like about traveling? If you had a choice, I mean, maybe preference in this way, if you had a choice, would you want to keep traveling or are you feeling like you want a home base? What would that look like? Like, I know sometimes it might be scary to open that dialogue or you might feel like you might not want to know the answers, which I get that. But I think it's really important that they feel heard and listened to, especially if they're older. And older, I'm even talking like my daughter's age, like 7. Like, it can be important for them to have a voice. I mean, even 4 too. They might not have a lot of stuff, but you can still ask them. So I think that's one small thing that you could do is just checking in, just asking them some questions, how they're doing. If they don't really give you a lot, I mean, because I know sometimes teens, you have to kind of catch them at the right moment. I think that's okay too. You can just try again, right? It doesn't mean that you don't stop trying. Maybe try again on a different day, different mood, who knows? But I think checking in with them while they're traveling to just see how they're doing would be one tip that you could do today.
I love it. I love it. Okay. So just check in.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. So as we then finalize things, let's slip into some travel trivia,
Love
see how
it.
you
Oh
do
my
today.
gosh.
In what country can you find the Neuschwanstein castle that inspired Disney.
Oh,
I hope I pronounced that
okay,
correctly.
yes. This is Germany.
This is
Yeah, okay, because I've
Germany.
been there, I
Yes.
believe. What's the town that it's in? Do you have
Ooh,
it?
I'm not
Okay, I
sure.
think I've been there. So,
No.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. What country is home to the birthplace of democracy and philosophy?
Is it Greece?
It is
Okay, nice.
Greece. Yes.
Yay. Somebody's right.
All right. Let's do one last one, and let's make this one fun since you're in Spain. The the rain in Spain stays mainly in the plain is a famous lyric from what Broadway musical?
The rain in Spain stays mostly in the plain. But Broadway musical. Okay. I know a couple of musicals. I'm trying to think of any that would be in Spain. It wouldn't be like Cats. It wouldn't be. Is it Les Mis?
My Fair
My
Lady.
Fair Lady. Okay, I would have never guessed that, but that's funny. I love it.
Yeah. Well, not traditionally a travel question. I thought it would be fun,
Yeah.
but you've been in Spain for a while. Is the rain mainly staying in the plains?
Maybe there hasn't been a whole lot of rain, so yeah.
Oh, caught you at the dry season.
Yes,
All right.
yes. Mhm.
Well, well, Addie, thank you for being such a calming and insightful voice for our traveling community. Listeners, you can find her at Everyday Bravery Counseling. Please leave us a review for this if this helped you on this podcast episode, and share it with fellow traveling parents so that they can benefit from it as well. And Addie, is there any parting advice or anything that you wanted to make sure that you conveyed before we leave?
You can do hard things. Traveling is amazing and it's also kind of hard, but I think the biggest takeaway for us and our family is like we can do hard things. Like we got through all of our challenges to date. I feel like we're stronger for it. It gives us more confidence. So you can do hard things too.
You can do hard things. That's a great parting advice. So, until next time, keep living your offbeat life intentionally, bravely, and just a little bit widely. Expose yourself to the world. All right, everybody, take care.
Bye.
Bye.
We just wanna see something bigger than us. To see and smell and taste something completely new. We just wanna travel the world.